welcome to everyone for the fourth episode on the AI for Accountants. I'm glad you could all make it. And today, before we get into today, the whole purpose of this is, we've been looking at AI for accountants, and I'm glad we're on the fourth week now. And the whole purpose of this is to cut through the hype. There's a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, a lot of concerns, a lot of risks being highlighted. But we want to just get to the point of being able to future-proof ourselves as well as our practices. There's a lot of talk about it taking jobs and all of that. But, if we are ready for it and if we prepare ourselves for it, we'll be more useful than useless. So with that in mind, that's the whole purpose, and I'm glad for this community that's here and that's taking some time to do this. So today we are going to look at deep research. There's actually been a few things that have happened over this past week. We've seen the launch of ChatGPT 5 come into play. And I'm not sure if you've seen that or using it. I suppose you have to. You don't really have much choice now with the other models anymore. For me, that's a relief, actually, because I wasn't too sure which of the models to have been using, for the various purposes. But, I'm glad that we've got to a point now where we can just use the one model and it helps us accordingly. So let's get straight into it. I trust you can all see my screen. I'm in ChatGPT. So ChatGPT 5, if you go here to the top left, you can see there's auto, fast, there's thinking, and if you need to upgrade, I'm on the pro version. If you upgrade, you get onto the business version, and then one above that will be the plus version, which obviously is a lot more costly. If you go to the legacy models, again, previously there were a whole lot of models here that you could choose from. That's all done away with now. There's the only legacy model here is ChatGPT 4, and that's it. So you can see it chooses for you. There's not much that you need to do, and you just sort of get on with it. So if you go to the prompt box, which is here, and this is where we normally ask the various questions. And if you click on the plus sign, is where you will get the various tools that you need to help you to run your prompt. So last week we looked at agent mode, and as you can see, I've got 22 left. I think on the plan that I'm on, we get 30 a month. And the deep research is 20 left. Again, I also think we get 30 a month here. And then you can create an image. This is you'll see that image that I created on my PowerPoint slide. I just asked it to give me something for AI for accountants, and in a few minutes it created that. The other thing you can do is connect various apps to this. Your choice of OneDrive, it has Outlook in there. I have connected it, but I haven't really seen it work. I'm not sure if any of you've seen it work, but if you have, then that's something that maybe you can show us how to do. And then if you click here, you'll see the study and learn. This is quite interesting for students, and I've seen this where students put in like a maths question, for example. It actually breaks it down line by line and shows how it can be used. So that's the study and learn that most students are actually using at this point in time. And then there's web search, there's Canvas, and then you can also connect it to your Google Drive. So that's really the main tools that are available for you, and it's just a matter of knowing when to use which specific tool. Another thing that I wanted to tell you, because sometimes when I click on this plus, all of this disappears for some reason, and I don't seem to see all of it. If you get stuck like that and it happens, you click the backspace on your keyboard, and then it gives you the list of everything in here. So that's also quite useful and helpful when you need that. So today, as I said, we're going to be looking at deep research. So if you click on deep research, you will see this little blue box coming up here. And that's now in that research mode or deep research mode. So I was hoping Yolandi would join us today. I see she hasn't. So Yolandi is a member that's based in Wombats or Bella Bella nowadays. And what I did was I created a prompt for someone like her that she might be interested in. So what I said is provide research on the amount of accounting practices in Bella Bella in Limpopo. Try to separate the chartered accountant, professional accountants, and business accountants. Also give an idea of the services they provide. And finally, the amount that is charged for these services. So that's my prompt. And if I click on this arrow for it to actually start, you will notice that it will give you a list of questions that you need to answer before it actually starts the deep research. So number one, it says, are you only interested in independent accounting practices, or should I include firms that are part of the national chains? So I will just say all. I'll press Shift Enter to go into the next line. Second question, do you want them only from Bella Bella, or can I include nearby towns like the Waterberg district? I will just say only Bella Bella.
Maybe Brendan, if you can just add in also number of staff per business, if possible.
Okay, yes, I can do that. So let's just Shift Enter. Third question, what specific services are you interested in? I will say all, so it's the bookkeeping, tax, advisory, the works. And then number four, would you be pricing per hour or monthly retainers? Let's just say both. And then I can just Shift Enter and say also include the number of staff. Yeah, let's do that. And then I click this, and then off it goes. And it'll start. It'll tell me exactly here what it's going to do. And you can see that it says starting research, and it goes for it. It basically scrapes the internet for all the information it can find, and then it gives me a report on this. So I know this takes a while, so I actually did the whole prompt before our meeting today. So we'll be able to see what the result of that is. I must say it's gotten a lot quicker. So I'm going to go here to where it's actually got my previous prompt that I ran earlier. You can see it asked me for a different set of questions. And it said, okay, and its research took 7 minutes, looked at 20 sources, and did 140 searches for me in that 7 minutes. And so that's how quick it's able to do it, in 7 minutes. If you consider you sitting and going through the internet, going into Google, running searches, this is a lot quicker. I also need to say that the previous models used to take between 45 minutes and 60 minutes when I used to run it like about a month ago. And now, obviously with GPT-5, it's doing it a lot quicker. So here you can see it's run and it's given us a report. It says the chartered accountants, there's approximately 3 firms or practices. It actually gives the name of them. It talks about the professional accountants being 2 to 3, so it also gives those that are there. I want to move down. Some of the business accountants and then the bookkeepers, there's a few of them. And then it gives a report of the chartered accountants. It looks at the services that they are providing, statutory audits and reviews, financial reporting, tax advisory, other services, goes to the professional accountants, gives what they do, and so on. And it gives all of them down here. Then the pricing. So it says the monthly bookkeeper, it's 100 to 400 Rand per hour, or 3,000 to 6,500 per month for outsourced bookkeeping. Then the payroll, 60 to 80 Rand per payslip. Then the tax return, 600 to 2,500 for an IT R12, the tax returns, the annual financial statements, and then obviously the advisory consulting. So it gives all of this, and you can see how useful this is. I mean, Ram, you could run a report similar to this and ask it about what's happening in Lens, for example, and that sort of area. And same with you, Benny. You can look at, the Nelspruit area, Mbombela region, and see what they are saying. And that will give you all of that. Yeah.
Just a question on this, on the fee aspect. How sure are you that it's correct, or
okay, that's
more
a
or less
question.
correct?
No, good question. So the other thing that this deep research does is that it gives you the actual source of the information and where it's pulling from. So for example, this one here, let's just click on it. Okay, so these are the accountants, and here you can kind of see what's the cost guide that these accountants are charging for. So obviously it's looking at each one. Some of them are published, some of them are not. But I mean, more or less, this is where it's taking the information from. So, and that's the good thing about deep research as well, is that it puts in all its sources. So you can actually go and click on it and see where it's coming from. It's not a thumb suck. So that's a good thing about it.
I need to speak to that, guys, because I think their marketing strategy is way off.
Perhaps. But yeah, I mean, again, these are bookkeepers, eh? They're not accountants. So that's always the difference as well. There's another little function that I've been using, a prompt. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but if you type here TL colon DR, so that stands for too long, did not read. And usually someone like myself would see that where I need, this thing is just too long, I need a much briefer summary. I just go TL DR and it'll put something very quickly in a summarized version, almost like point form. So we'll get to that in a minute because it is taking some time to generate that. In the meantime, there is another prompt that I was working on. So you can see this one that we've put in, it's still going. It's, as I said, it takes a bit of time. So I'm going to stop that. And let's see if we can do a new chat. And this one, I've put in a little bit more meat in it because we've been talking about our tech stack before the meeting today. And I've actually put a much more meatier prompt. And the good thing with ChatGPT is if you don't know, well, firstly, the better your prompt, the better your results. And I think that's something we all know and have understood now for a while. But if you get stuck for a prompt, you can actually ask ChatGPT to give you a good prompt, which is what I've done here. So this prompt looks at the tech stack or an app stack that an accountant needs for his practice. So a tech stack is like all the software that you put together, how it combines, obviously the APIs and things like that. So I said, look, just compare it. The ones that are commonly used in South Africa, you're looking at Sage, Xero, QuickBooks Online, Dext, all of them, auto entry, then Caseware, DraftWorks, and then the outputs that I wanted. It gave some constraints, but again, like I said, ChatGPT did this prompt for me. So, I was just able to use it accordingly. And then I clicked on this. Obviously, it gave me a list of questions, as you've seen before. And that's what I ran with. So again, I ran this earlier. And if you go into it, you will see, okay, so here's the list of questions that it asked. I said I want it for my own firm. I want the software done separately. And they asked about legacy systems. I said, no, don't worry about legacy systems. Let's just look at what's happening currently. And it said, okay, great. This is what I'm going to do. Now, this took a little longer. It took 11 minutes. But in the end, it was able to give me a report in a table format. And what it did was it looked at each software. So you can see there's Xero, there's QuickBooks, here there's Sage, and it kind of gave it a ranking based on different elements. So it looked at the bank feeds, and you can see there's 5 different banks that connect here with Xero. There's 4 with QuickBooks. Seems to be about 3 with Sage, which I don't think is correct. I think they connect to most of the big 4 banks. But then it looked at the VAT compliance, and then it looked at the audit trail and controls. And again, it looked across the board with Xero, Sage, and QuickBooks. And it gave a ranking. And then at the end, it gave a total score of 465 for Xero, 445 for QuickBooks Online, and then 445 for Sage as well. And it kind of gives you the whole reason as to why that is. Again, the sources are all in here. You can click on any one of them, and you'll be able to see where it's getting that information from. But again, you think about if you had to sit and try and do this, go through the internet, run search functions and see exactly what's in here. This could take a very, very long time. And according to this, it only took us 11 minutes. So if someone's wanting to look at a tech stack, not just the QuickBooks, but the financials, Caseware and DraftWorks, or if it's looking at an OCR, which is optical character recognition, it's comparing text, it's comparing auto entry, then this is the ideal tool that will help that person make that right decision. And again, at the end, it gives you, all the sources that are here. So it's not a thumb suck. It's actually taking the information and putting it together. So if I just go back to that one where I said it's too long and I did not read it here with all this, and so I put it here, too long, did not read, it came up with something. And you can see here, it's a lot more in point form. You can see how many, what do they do, their current price, and it's a much shorter report than what was there. So that's quite a useful function, the TLDR. But that, in a nutshell, is what the deep research does in ChatGPT, and it is quite useful. So I think we just got a minute or 2 left. I'd just like to ask how many people are using it, if there's been any reasons or purposes. Yeah. Okay, we will land there. Thanks everyone for joining. And again, if there's any specific topics that you want to cover, want us to cover, let us know and we will put that down. The next webinar will be on the 28th of August. And as I said, John's actually going to be taking us through that and be working through what he's been doing down in the Western Cape. And I think that's going to be very useful to see how that's working out. But again, thanks for joining. And I hope you'll be able to put this deep research into play and into action in your practices and in your lives. And I'm sure it will definitely make a big difference. So thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of the evening and Friday.
Thanks,
and
Debbie.
You guys.
see you all
Thank
soon.
you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you,
Thank
Ram.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye,
Bye.
everybody. Bye, Debbie. You guys are excellent. You will.
Thanks, Sam. See you. Bye-bye.